My name's Tammy, and today I have a lovely guest on with me. Her name's Emily Burnette, and she's a color consultant, personal stylist, and we're going to be chatting all about style, finding your fashion sense, and yeah, I'm so excited. So, hello, Emily. How are you today?
Hi, Tammy. I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here and happy to connect.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. I know this has been like a long time coming. We were like chatting
Yeah,
about doing this
it really
before.
has.
And it's been a minute since we first saw each other.
Yeah,
So I'm so excited. So can you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into the field that you're in now? Because one of
sure.
the main paths to transformation, like in my personal life and that I work with individuals on in the past, has been like finding our like true calling or what we really
Mhm.
want to be doing. So how did you get into
Yeah,
your path, your career?
such a good question. And I like the way that this is framed because it's like a lot of people are just like, "Oh, how did you become a stylist?" But it's obviously so much more than that. And I love how you are tying it to transformation and it's just beautifully worded, first of all.
Oh, thank you.
Um, Honestly, I always kind of knew that I wanted to be a stylist. I will admit that I was scared to become a stylist because I knew that it was something that I kind of had a talent for, putting outfits together and knowing what looked good on other people and shopping and finding things and really dressing for my body. And I would say that was like from like a young age. And so I knew I wanted to do something in fashion. That was the baseline. Um, and when I was in high school looking at colleges, I grew up in Virginia. I realized I didn't want to do interior design. I didn't want to do fashion design. I couldn't really do like the tactile, physical, hands-on designing. My brain doesn't work like that. So that left pretty much fashion styling. And so I found a school that offered a program and kind of got my degree that way. Um, and that's kind of what laid the baseline, I guess, the foundation of, where I am today. And through that, I took jobs after college. I moved to New York. I kind of bounced around between mono brands like Diane von Furstenberg. I ended up doing personal shopping at Barney's, The Real Real, and then my last corporate job before I went solo dolo was with Neiman Marcus as a digital stylist. So um, it was a direct route. I think you could say more direct than others. And I always thought when, you're in high school or even much younger, when you're tasked with this idea of like, what am I supposed to do the rest of my life? What a daunting thing to try to figure out and overcome. And I always felt like, oh, I know what I want to do. And then a couple years ago when the strikes happened, I thought, oh my God, is this what I want to do? And I kind of had like the opposite of like now that I'm here in it, like confirming that this is my path, you know? But yeah, it kind of just started with this like knowing of wanting to be in fashion and then um, discovering what avenue to take in fashion. And so that's kind of how I ended up here, owning my own personal styling and wardrobe business.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It's so cool to hear that, you had the idea of like where you wanted to be. Because, like you're
Mhm.
saying, though, it's so daunting at 18 to be like, this is where I want to go. This is where I'm going. Like for me, I'm completely indecisive. So it was
Yeah.
definitely not like I had no idea I'd be where I'd be right where I am right now, like doing the things that I do. And I love that you're also a fellow East Coast girly. I didn't know
Yes.
that about you.
Yes.
So I'm from Pennsylvania, so
Oh my gosh.
yeah. What, if you don't mind sharing, what school did you go to?
Yes. I born and raised Lynchburg, Virginia, which is in the very center of the map. in Virginia, and I went to school at Radford University, which is in Southwest Virginia.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I remember I was like kind of interested in fashion too. Again, didn't know where I wanted to go, but I looked at like Philly U at the time.
Okay.
It was like pretty, I guess, big. I think it still is. Actually, the college I went to had a pretty good fashion program. It was
How
called,
funny.
yeah, it was called Albright College, very small one in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I had a little bit of a interest, but I hadn't explored it. So, but it was one of those like, I love clothes, I love designing and
Yeah.
everything. How can getting dressed become a form of self-care or daily empowerment for women? Because, we're all about living like a more authentic life,
Mhm.
feeling more fulfilled. So, like, how do you help with that? How can you help with that?
Currently in my business, I work predominantly with women, and so this comes up a lot in terms of like, we as women wear so many different hats. A lot of us have so many different titles. We're mothers, we have children, we have jobs, we're business owners, we're students, we do a lot all at once. And I think, you know, tying in personal styling to self-care is the same as you would do for like getting a massage or, going for a walk. It's like showing up for yourself and really honoring the woman that you are and how you show up in the world. And I think when you do that and, determine your personal style or even just go shopping and find something that brings you joy. Like the color of your shirt is so bright and vibrant. You're obviously going to hold yourself differently, which we'll get into colors and all of that good stuff later. But it's really just, in my opinion, another form of self-care and taking care of yourself, specifically for women.
Yeah, I definitely notice how when some people wear certain colors, their energy I feel like shifts a little bit and like changes. I know I always feel
Yeah,
more empowered when I wear red.
love that. It's
Yeah.
true.
So what are some signs that you have noticed with others that their maybe like wardrobes holding them back from, being expressing who they truly are?
I'd say the most obvious signs are, they'll tell you verbally when I work with a client, this isn't working for me. This is too fussy. Honestly, it's like the most simplest aspects, which is it doesn't fit. It's too big. It's too little. It's too tight. It's too, boxy. The fabrication, it's too itchy. It could be a plethora of things. And I feel like baseline, it has something to do with fit or quality of the fabric, where um, the wardrobe is just not working for them. It's not their right color palette. Maybe it's a little bit outdated. We need to bring them into the modern world and kind of give them some elevated basics and bring them into 2025. Usually it's that. And I would say a lot of times when working with clients, they know what's not working for them. They just need the validation from an outsider to tell them. And also kind of the support and encouragement of like, it's okay. These clothes got you through the last 10 years, or they got you through this transition in your life, but now you're in a completely different area of your life. It's okay. Like, I'm here, hold my hand, and we'll get you to the next point. So, I'd say a lot of times it's like really simple in terms of like fit, color, fabrication. And also like body language. If you see somebody when you're out in public and they're like slumped over, they're like always fixing the clothing, fidgeting, stuff like that is a really good indicator that the clothing is not working with you, it's working against you. So,
That is so true because I feel like I cannot wear stuff if I'm uncomfortable in it.
yeah,
And I will fidget. Like, for
it'll
example,
show.
this shirt, like, though I love it, the color and everything, like, I definitely play with the sleeves because they're like a little bit, they ride up a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I hate that. But yeah, I think for me, I've never thought of like how the fabric like actually like
Hmm.
lays on our body and fits. I think I always thought of what is the shape of the clothing and like the shape of my body and how does that work with me. So that's
Yeah,
super cool that we also like can consider the fabric and like also how it's tailored to us and everything.
yeah.
It's not just color and your body type. That's so awesome.
There's more to it. And I would
Yeah.
argue also that like going a little bit deeper from like a psychological standpoint, it's like how does the clothing make you feel? Like this is like a silk blend shirt or something, but
Mhm.
it makes me feel like a little bit more elevated, a little bit more luxe, a little bit richer. You know, if you're wearing a cotton tee, that's a little bit more casual. If you're wearing a tank top, that's even more casual. But really, how does the clothing make you feel? How does that red t-shirt, it's so vibrant, make you feel emboldened? So yeah, that's another
Yeah.
good takeaway.
Yes, and like who do you want to embody? Like is what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly.
Like what energy do you want to embody and who is like your future self too? Because I love to talk about like,
Yes.
future self and everything. So yeah, I totally dress for my moods personally and or obviously the setting, like what's happening. Now, I think personally for me, I feel like I've lost. I know I don't for A, I don't feel like I've ever really had a personal style. I've it's been hard to like pin it down. But B also like I definitely feel like I need some wardrobe help. But can you walk us through a simple process for how like one like me would discover our personal style, especially if somebody felt like they lost it?
I think my number one like starting point is like I love excuse me, platforms like Pinterest and even just like Vogue Runway or Instagram, and you type in like outfit inspiration, style inspiration, just go and see what speaks to you. Do it mindlessly, save some pins, save some posts, and see what is being, you know, what you're being attracted to. I think that's a really good indication because you'll start to see themes, I would assume, or you could be all over the place, and that's totally fine. It's not end all be all that you have to determine your sense of style. I think, however, though, more than likely there will be a common theme with regards to what is jumping out at you and what's speaking to you. But yeah, Pinterest has so many hundreds of millions of pins of people posting outfits, Instagram, social media, Vogue runways straight from the design houses. You can see what types of clothing is speaking out to you. And obviously that changes seasonally based on, what the designers are pushing out to the consumers, but that takes into consideration forecasting trends and all of the styles. We had Coquette Summer a while ago and, Mocha Mousse last year, and now we're moving into like spring and summer. So I feel like that's a really good place to start. If that's not something that you're interested in, look in your closet, see what you have in your closet. Do you have high-waisted jeans? Do you have like really trend forward pieces? Do you kind of just have like more of a capsule wardrobe where you have like basics? I think either one of those routes that you take will help get you started at least with determining your sense of style.
Yeah, the basics that you're mentioning, I think a lot of people nowadays like I feel like there's been this thing with fast fashion a little bit and a lot of I feel people of all ages I guess, but we've been consuming a lot of that and I've noticed
Yeah.
personally and I just listened to a podcast yesterday about some like millennial women. They were just mentioning that they're kind of over the fast fashion and the over like
Yeah.
consumption, but what are some like basics maybe that you always start your clients with in their wardrobe?
Yeah. First and foremost, undergarments. Good
Ooh.
underwear, good bras, good socks, good shapewear. That's foundational. And that is like once you get that established, you can wear pretty much anything. Because if you have a bad bra or bad shapewear, then the outfit, the dress is not going to hang right, so on and so forth. So like that's kind of the foundation is the undergarments.
Oh my God, I never would have thought of that. Oh my gosh. What?
I'm glad to be dropping gems
Yeah,
for
I
you.
literally I mean that's so true though, because if your bra is like if you have like bulging
Yeah.
or whatever, you're not gonna hold yourself as right. That
Yeah.
do you like randomly, but do you have a place that you recommend for underwear? Because I feel like a lot of people, my age, we the Victoria's Secret like era, we were always
Yeah,
buying there, but I feel like their stuff just doesn't last the like
the
it used
quality.
to.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Not to mention their sizing structure changed many years ago,
Yeah.
and it's what is now a large is like truly like a small medium. It didn't really, I don't think, in my personal opinion, evolve with like the demographics of women in the United States and how we carry our weight. With that being said, there's options at every price point. I'm honestly a really, really big fan of Skims. I think that brand has really capitalized on really, really good fabrication and function. Bras, underwear, shapewear. I really, really love their shapewear. Spanx obviously is like the OG in terms of shapewear. Those are my what I would recommend first and foremost to clients. Then you have all kinds of other higher and lower options depending on the client's budget.
Yeah, I always hear different ads on Skims. Haven't explored, but I know Spanx, obviously, like you said, OG, and I love
Hmm.
Sarah Blakely, like the founder. She's
Yeah,
so funny to follow on Instagram. I don't know if you follow her, but like, oh, you're
she's
so
epic.
so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. But you bring up an interesting point too. So a lot of the sizing, have you noticed it changing like within the, years
Mhm.
that's gone on, or is it more of the depends store to store? Because I know that's a complaint I hear from a lot of women.
Yeah. I'd say both, but I think as soon as you said Victoria's Secret, I think I used to wear a medium and then it's like, oh, there's no way I can fit into a medium underwear. And that's not necessarily to my body growing and changing. It's really like um their internal sizing structure or their lack of quality control, or I don't know what what it is, but I think it could be both. I think a lot of people envision like petite, skinny women in the United States, and while there are women that fit that narrative, the bulk of us have curves, we have hips, we have thighs, we have stomachs, boobs. We've got all the body parts. And I think, Skims has a brand like her has, and Sarah Blakely's Spanx has, kind of been able to market to, and also Fenty by Rihanna.
Oh.
She's was like one of the first to have like body positive mannequins that weren't your classic silhouette. So I don't know precisely to answer your question, but my guess is a mix of both. But when you said Victoria's Secret, I noticed that firsthand.
In terms of wardrobe again, what is one small change somebody could make to feel instantly more put together?
Honestly, you could put on lipstick, you could put on heels, you could put on a blazer, you could put on real pants, depending on, what you're where you're going or what you're doing. It's really simple. It's kind of what we were alluding to in the previous question was like, who are you embodying today, or who do you want to embody in the near future with regards to your wardrobe, and how can you get there? Maybe it's wearing your hair a different way. It's not all about wardrobe. It's also like could be more of like image consulting, like hair, makeup, posture. Maybe you take a posture class or a runway class, something like that. But for me, since this is my area of expertise, I would say wear a color that like really sparks joy. Wear your favorite piece from an outfit. Maybe it's a blazer or a leather jacket. Put on a pair of heels for a meeting. Or maybe it's your favorite sneaker. I think anything that makes you feel really comfortable and confident is a surefire way to kind of show up authentically as yourself and kind of you just hold yourself a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's not just about the style. Like I hear you saying, I like how you're saying change your hair as
Yeah.
well, or the makeup you can play with as well.
Hmm.
That's so cool. So, when you do work with a client and let's say, or somebody is overwhelmed with their closet, what are three things that you tell them to do?
This happens all the time because I feel like we as female consumers have a lot of emotional ties to our purchases,
Mm-hmm.
specifically clothing. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I always say, let's take a break. Let's take a deep breath and then let's revisit it. You know, it could be hand-me-downs, it could be you could have clothing for decades in your closet that you're really just holding on for most likely sentimental reasons. Um, you could also just be overwhelmed by like trying to make a decision when you're presented with so many choices that you never had before. Like the options are limitless in terms of, you know, different feelings that kind of come up while doing personal styling or, you know, doing a fitting where I'm in your closet or in your space, dressing you for, you know, whatever function you have or just your everyday lifestyle. But I think those three things of just like taking a break, pausing, taking a deep breath, and just knowing that your stylist is there to kind of help you and guide you from point A to point B and really validate your experience, but also elevate you from where you started. Because if we ended up with the session over and you dressed exactly how you did before, that wouldn't really serve you. You know, the goal is to kind of meet you where you are and then help get you to the next place where you still feel like yourself, but you just look a little bit more polished, a little bit more put together. So yeah, it's natural for those feelings to come up. If you just take it easy and take it slow, then you'll be fine. At the end of the day, it is clothing. It's kind of what you associate with that clothing.
I admire that you take into your clients' feelings into account because definitely I've seen a lot of people be very sentimental with the clothes
Yeah.
and not gonna lie, I have one or two pieces where I'm like, well, this was like from the summer of 2016 or this was from, the my best years of college, so I don't want to get rid of it yet. Or it's like it fits
Yeah.
so good. Still, I just love it. So it's hard to part with those things.
Yeah.
How do you feel or do you subscribe to the idea that like clothes and just things in general, but they're taking up space like energetically, but once we, remove it, then it can
Mm.
bring more in, like more of that energy perspective, I guess.
Part of me is like, it's just clothing.
Mm.
And then again, I think it's like what you associate with that clothing. Did your ex-boyfriend give it to you? If so, you should probably let go of it. It depends on what it is. And a lot of times, what I see predominantly in my clients' closets, men and women alike, is that it was like their college wardrobe. It was their wardrobe from 5, 10, 15 years ago. They're no longer that person. We're growing, we're evolving, we're changing. So, although I do feel like it's just clothing, part of me, a little part, I wouldn't say 50%, but a little part of me, because that's like the realistic part. The other part is like, absolutely, if you're still holding on to things that make you feel unempowered, make you feel poor, make you feel like you're still in college, make you feel juvenile, whatever. It could make you feel the complete opposite of that. But like, let's just say for this scenario, you have clothing that's ill-fitting and it makes you feel like how you were before you were in your weight loss transformation or before kids or after kids, you know. If you still have that stuff in your closet, chances are it's not serving you. And with the direction of the woman you're heading in, you need stuff that supports that fits you well. That's first and foremost, that fits you well, that makes you feel comfortable, that makes you feel confident. So both can be true. Some can be, it's just a sweatshirt. Okay, wear it around the house. But the bulk of it, I would say, is yes. I think there is some energy transfer there.
Mhm. Yes, because I personally noticed when I do hold on to those things, like, oh, this was like an old version of me, or,
Yeah.
before I let it go, I donate it. I try to donate it as soon as I put it in my trunk, not like 7 months later. I don't know if you've seen those TikToks, it's so funny. But get rid
I
of
see it
it.
firsthand
Yeah, and then I
with
noticed like,
clients.
for example, like sometimes my cousin will give me clothes, which I gladly take, clothes that are aligned. I and again, accept the clothes that are aligned, then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Like I literally wear this sweater all the time now. Like I love it. But you did mention a lot about like a weight loss journey, I heard you say. So can style evolve with different life chapters? Like,
hmm
for example, like you're saying, motherhood, or like I mentioned, like the career shifts,
hmm
who we used to be.
For it not to evolve would be kind of silly unless you just it works for you and you're in the same career and you don't age,
Mhm.
which doesn't happen. So, yeah, and it should evolve. I feel like as much as we're working on our inner selves and like what we do for our brains and our minds and our bodies, like we should also do for the physical, the outside, which is how we dress up and show up for ourselves and our partners or our colleagues, our clients, our community, our friends and family. It absolutely should evolve and transition. And what better time to transition when you had a big, milestone? Maybe now you're married, maybe now you opened your own business, or you have a new event space. Like you have so many amazing, beautiful blessings. So, like, your wardrobe should kind of reflect that. Absolutely.
Funny enough, but I think that was one of the first things I did was like, I need new clothes to like
Yeah.
fill it to embody this new version and everything. Yeah, because I know I've heard a lot of, women be express how they don't like their old clothes from before pregnancy or now
hmm
they don't really know what to wear. So it's it's good to hear your validation of that. So what do you say to women who feel guilty about spending money, like maybe a mom, on some of these new clothes?
Such a delicate subject. I think money is, and this is something that like I have to remind myself as well as a consumer. And I kind of take off the stylist hat and the professional opinion aside. Like, money is essentially neutral. It's how we associate with money, whether we have a lot of it, whether it flows to us freely, or whether it's hard for us to get. It doesn't come to us as easily. You're always spending it, whatever. It is most likely how we're taught to handle it from a very young age, or like what we see mirrored in our childhood around our friends and family. With that being said, sometimes it's worth having a conversation with a money expert, someone who does budgeting or, financial planners with regards to if you're doing like a really big wardrobe overhaul. Because for one, you have the cost of the stylist and then you typically have the cost of the clothing. With that being said, though, overall, I don't feel that you should be guilty about buying something that makes you happy on occasion, or maybe more frequently. It depends on, whether you have the budget to do so. And I would argue that the more that you pour into yourself and buy things for yourself that are aligned with like your future business goals or your future goals as you showing up as fill in the blank, that all comes together to support that. So it's actually part of the package deal. If you want to achieve this, well, you have to dress that way. And it's kind of like this mind thing. It's like I totally think it's mindset. And yeah, it's supporting you in achieving those things.
In regards to trends, I would love your thoughts, opinions. Like, I think some people that, like myself, that are trying to find their style,
Mhm.
and like the podcast I listened to yesterday, how important do you feel like trends are to follow?
I've been asked this question a lot of times. I would say my answer changes a little bit, but for the most part, it's wear what feels right. Trends are helpful if you need a little bit of some excitement in your wardrobe. Maybe you have like a wardrobe that you know and love that fits you well, but bringing in some new elements, I think an easy way to tap into for like trends. And when I'm talking about trends, I'm talking about maybe like fast fashion trends that are like a little bit more niche, like a cropped denim jacket or blazer or something, or like pink leather pants, something that are like quite niche
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't necessarily wear every day of your life, maybe. But I think it's important to incorporate it in like a mild manner, if you will, like incorporate it as much as you see fit, but also wear what you like. I think that's kind of my stance on trends.
For sure. Because how can we be confident if we're not wearing, if we don't like what we're wearing?
That's such a good point because I was actually going to say the flip side of that is there are trends that come out that just don't work for you,
Mm.
for your body type. And for example, I was doing a color consultation pop-up last weekend, and my business partner tried on this adorable pair of like what I would consider Bermuda length. So like down to the knee, right above the knee, really cute um, denim cargo shorts. Love. They're so cute. And I thought, oh my God, she got them. Because I was like, you have to get them. She's also like 6 to 10 inches taller than me. Those would not work on me because I have such short legs and I
Mhm.
have a butt. So like it's just not going to work for me. So like also to your point, use discernment when thinking about trends. Like sometimes you have to try and buy. It's okay to buy and return. I recommend that for clients as well. But like get your friend's honest opinion, whether or not it actually works for your body type. Usually you'll know, but sometimes it's helpful to have external validation. But yeah, sometimes we are fed trends as consumers that just do not work. Yeah,
Thank you for giving us that example, a personal example.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I know some some stuff you see and you're like, I don't know if I'd wear that because of your like
Mhm.
you're really tall and that's like for somebody who's super petite. Or I think the example for me at least is like sometimes tops aren't necessarily made for people with more boobs, so it's
Yep.
being like, oh, that won't work for me. Like that strapless
Yeah.
no back top won't really be good for me. So use it,
No, I
yeah.
know. Good for you. I'm really
Um,
impressed.
I hear some of the, I guess, Gen Z making fun of millennials or like, how do you know it's a millennial? And they talked about your like ankle socks
Yeah.
with your gym clothes or whatever. So how is maybe like maybe that's an example, but how how can a millennial maybe not look like a millennial? Like maybe something that they can try to do away with.
It's so funny. I remember that trend on TikTok, and I funnily enough heard these two women having a conversation a couple weeks ago about that. And this was a couple months ago, so the fact that they're still talking about it is quite shocking. I would say, of course, the younger generations making fun of the generation in front of it. We were probably making fun of Gen X and
For sure.
so on and so forth. So like, okay, I get it. Now I'm kind of like maybe I now we feel guilty. I kind of don't subscribe to that, honestly, in a sense of like we're different generations. That's what makes us unique. It also plays into the trends. I think the trend at the time now, I don't know, I'm not necessarily following sock trends, but was to push these higher above the ankle socks as compared to like when I was in middle school, that would be like so uncool to wear anything other than a no-show sock or an ankle sock.
Mm-hmm.
I still have ankle socks in my closet. I also have crew socks.
Filled.
I haven't, yeah, I haven't plunged for the mid ankle sock, but I think it goes back to again just generational differences. And also I would argue that that's even more trend based where that they're going to go out, then it's going to be no socks, then it's going to be, everything is cyclical,
Hmm.
so it'll change again.
Yes, you that's such a good point. Everything is cyclical. And it's funny. I remember my mom being like, "Oh my God, I used to wear that. I wish I kept that." And
Yeah.
I was just like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but now I see, everything
Hmm.
coming back. But I'm very curious about your color
Yes.
consulting. How does wearing the right colors for your body and energy, how does it help with confidence, mood? Like how have you?
Color psychology and color theory is such a fascinating topic. And what we do, I'm also the co-founder of a on-demand color consulting business called the Color Collaborative, and we do local pop-ups at retailers in and around Los Angeles. We also do
So
corporate
cool.
and like corporate summits and corporate events. We do stuff internally for companies, kind of from an educational angle. Um, what we always say is like the goal of a color analysis, or often referred to as a color consultation, is it's fun at its core and it's transformative because when you see how your skin tone and your hair and your facial features light up or kind of are in competition with colors, you can clearly see what colors work best for you. And I would say, there are colors that naturally look best on each and every one of us. And it's important to kind of identify those colors so that you don't look washed out, so that it doesn't look like flesh colored shirt. That's a good example, but like there is real science behind colors evoking certain moods, behaviors, attitudes, things like that. There's this really good book that I love, and I love to reference it to clients. It's a little scientific, but it's for the most part an easy read. It's called Big Dress Energy. It's by this amazing woman based out of London, and she has a whole section on color theory and what the colors mean. And I think it's just really fascinating. And it's just another element of personal styling, honestly, that's already woven in. But because of TikTok and because of the demand for color consulting, and you see it more and more done outside of personal styling, just as is, it's also a really nice introduction to personal styling. You go and get your colors done, and then you're fully equipped to start working with a stylist.
Right. That's like a very perfect first step,
Yeah,
it seems. Yeah, because the amount of people that I've personally seen where I'm like, are they wearing pants? Because the pants like match their color, their skin
yeah.
too, or whatever. That's an awesome, I love that you're popping up at different locations too. Because it really does put the whole, I know there's colors that I've seen on people where I'm like, that looks so good on you. But the whole
Mm-hmm.
the whole like are you a silver or gold thing, that was like, what are you, wait, what? I didn't know one could look better on me or not.
Yeah, we also do that. We do metallic swatches, which is really cool to see as well.
Yeah, so tell us all the offers that you have and
Yes.
everything.
So in personal styling, I work with predominantly women, as I mentioned, female founders, female business owners, women who wear many hats. And I do a seasonal styling package, which is kind of my signature offer. I suggest that for all new clients. And then I also say to existing clients we should revisit at least twice a year. It's usually helpful to kind of go in there, see what's working, what's not, revamp it, maybe restyle some outfits, and then you get a digital styling lookbook. All of this is done in person or virtually. I have that option as well. And then I'm in the process of rolling out some retainer packages, some image consulting. So for clients who are really looking for like really high level styling, where I bring the clothing to them and really help them kind of gut their wardrobe and start fresh. And this is typically for people who are always on the go, who don't have time to shop for themselves, so on and so forth. And then with color consulting, I also offer that in person or virtually. And I can bring my rack of swatches to your home and do that consultation for you. And you get a custom season card notating your season. And we discuss all of the swatches and the hues and what metals look good on you in terms of jewelry. If that's not an option for you, you can follow us at the Color Collaborative specifically for color consultations and follow us for when we announce pop-ups, and all my other services are listed at emilyburnette.com.
That's definitely something on my radar, the color consulting, because I'm like so curious and I need to know what mine,
Yes,
if I'm fall or winter, spring, summer.
yes.
You're opening my brain is so like expanded right now. I'm like,
Oh,
wow.
good. That's what
Yeah.
you get, honestly, with working with personal styling is it's a new set of lens. I always say it's a new
Mhm.
perspective. And then once your mind is open, it's kind of like what they say about travel. Once your eye is opened or your mind is open, it never goes back. You only go up from there.
So, two, I guess, final questions. What
Sure.
is your like favorite thing? What really makes your soul glow like about the work that you do, your job? And then, of course, if there's anything else that you want to add that we didn't talk about.
Ironically, or not so ironically, the name of the podcast. It's the literal path to transformation that I see clients when I first meet them. And they're kind of like, "Oh, I don't know if this fits me. I don't know what to wear. I hate shopping." And then once we kind of go through the closet and I assess, what is going on in there, and then we do a shop and then we go back and refine it and integrate the new items, it's a completely different person. And they might not have a bad wardrobe to start, but it may just not suit them, their lifestyle, their sizing, their colors, so on and so forth. So it's the transformative aspect that I see firsthand, and more importantly, that the client sees that is just really, really, truly rewarding that you can't really put a price on because, I have my prices. It's very in alignment with, other stylists across the board. But what that client is receiving is worth way more than what we're charging. It's about feeling empowered and feeling confident and dressing, for themselves and for their careers and for whatever reasons, whatever gets them up every single day in the morning. And if what I can contribute can result in that person feeling confident enough to close their biggest deal yet or their biggest sale yet, then that's the most wonderful thing.
I love that. Oh, and I admire how, you talk about your work and I can just tell like you glow and you're just so passionate about what you
Oh,
do. And it's always just so nice to talk to people that, genuinely love what they're doing
yeah.
and have so many good perspectives and insight on it to share with everybody. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that I forgot to ask or anything?
No, I think you asked some really, like, really insightful questions. And if any of the listeners have any questions, feel free to DM me at Emily Burnette Stylist. You can go to my website, emilyburnette.com. And if you're interested in working with a stylist, hit me up. I would love to have a conversation. I do 30-minute complimentary consultations where we can walk you through the services, see if we're a good fit, and then kind of go from there. And I also post a lot of styling tips and tricks and hacks on my Instagram, and I have a new newsletter which you can also sign up at my website. And you'll get a complimentary capsule wardrobe guide as kind of a little freebie for signing up to my newsletter. And I have lots of really cool insider information that I send through those newsletters, usually bi-monthly.
I love good freebie. I need to put my email in so I can get
Please.
that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Emily. Thank you for your time and sharing so much good information about, styling and our wardrobes and everything. It's been so my mind is expanded, like I said, and I can't wait to put, some of the
Yeah.
information that you learned that you taught into my wardrobe. So thanks so
Amazing.
much. Yeah,
Thank you,
and
Tammy.
yeah, and thanks everybody for listening. You can find me at Gather with Tammy and at TammyU_wellness. Make sure you follow Emily, shout her out, DM her, and check out all her offers and find more of the information in the show notes. So thanks so much for listening today, and we will talk to you soon.